Okay, hi, good afternoon everybody. Welcome to the webinar on Improve Conversion and Avoid Abandonment webinar by CompuWare. Today we are very honored to have Mr. Deepak Kaur, Solution Consultant, CompuWare India, to show us his presentation on this topic. Before we start, I would just like to inform you that audio broadcast is available from your laptop as well as mobile devices. We will be taking Q&A at the end of the session, and please feel free to drop a note on the Q&A panel as and when you have any question, and we'll take the questions at the end of the session. For those of you who would like to go to the AT&T conferencing tool, you can actually go on to the teleconferencing button where you can see the toll-free and toll number for you to connect to the AT&T. However, we will not be taking any questions on the AT&T conferencing tool, so please put in your question for the Q&A panel, and we will address it at the end of the session. So over to you, Deepak.
Thanks, Jerry. Welcome everyone to this session. So I'm Deepak, the Solution Consultant with CompuWare. So let's begin this about how to improve your conversion and avoid abandonment for your website. So let's begin at the critical aspect of any web application that you handle, is the user experience. Today, people expect user experience to be rich. So below what you see are some of the key statistics which we have captured, which tell us that a 2-second slowdown on Bing results in a revenue loss for user up to 4.3%. Similarly, a 400 millisecond delay on Google results in the searches per user go down by 0.59%. Now, this may look like a very small figure, but when you compare to the size what Google and Bing represent, so it tells you what a user experience, a slowdown or a millisecond delay in the page load can impact the user experience and have impact on the business. So no longer a user experience is only about being not able to visualize a page or load it, but how it really impacts your business, your ultimate, the reason for that business being available. On the other hand, let's look at some of the successes where Shopzilla, they reduced their page load time from 7 seconds to 2 seconds, and the revenue and has been to the tune of 7 to 12%, which they have optimized, and the hardware cost has gone down by 50%. So not only are you able to increase your profitability, but also make efficient use of your resources. So there are many more such examples from where you can see that how user experience is very critical to your business. Let's look at what's happening in the industry really. In the evening, trying to recharge your television DTH package, the website is not working. Trying to play your mobile phone right in the morning, the website is not available. Trying to book a movie ticket on a weekend, the venue is not available due to the connectivity. Railway tickets, no surprises. I think everyone on this call would have had some experience of this nature. And where you are trying to do promotional campaigns, like trying to offer seats on your flights, the websites come down crashing. They can't handle the user load. So what are you doing? You are the next big news on the newspaper for all the wrong reasons. So be it your tickets, movies, your bills, you're not able to make effective use of the system, and this leaves a bad experience with the users. Today, the user is not confined to one website. He has multiple choices available to him, where he can just go over to a different competitor, and you end up losing your business, you'll end up losing your reputation. So why does this happen? So what is there, what you could do to improvise on this sector? So let's look through some of the complexities which have propounded in the recent times, where the web applications, how they have changed over the past few years. Like, it's no longer my browser and a web application hosted in an environment. There are too many things which are happening. The application logic has extended to the browser. No longer are the applications just built into the web application on the web server and sent out as a processed and completed page on your device. They have changed. Now you've got a lot of third-party services which are involved, devices, browsers, CDNs, lot of the third-party calls that your application makes to maps, ads, payment gateways. So a lack of visibility into those third-party service calls is not enough for you to make a judgment about like how your web application is, how it is showing up on the real user's device. So it's very critical to be able to understand how these impact your application. There have been instances in past years where Facebook or Twitter went down and they brought with them enough of websites which were using their contents on their pages. So the browser is a critical aspect of today's web application, and that's where you've got to understand that the perception of having a device that is just connected to a data center no longer exists. The reality is that there are too many things along this delivery chain, your ads, your backend services, your streaming media, mobile devices, carriers, that today are forming the base of your end user experience. And these are the areas which you need to look at and try to optimize. The complexity is today growing. You had 5 browsers in 2008. In 2010, you had 10 releases and 22 in 2012. The browsers itself are changing day in, day out. There are too many releases that are coming out. So how do you stay ahead of the curve, of this curve? How are you able to get past this issues of where your application needs to work on all of this? So you need tools, efficient tools, which are of the state-of-the-art technology, can help you look at those browsers, these devices, and provide you real value, effective diagnostic value in trying to increase your business efficiency and better your user experience. So let's look at some of the statistics that we have been looking at. A 1 second delay in a response time causes a 7% drop in conversions, 11% drop in page view, and 16% drop in customer satisfaction. Now this is a 1 second delay. So how do you assess, how do you come across this delay in response and your customer satisfaction measure? So if there's a lot of delay in 2 or 3 seconds, definitely you're losing your customers. So the time, energy you have tried to put on in building your website and trying to propagate it through the web and all the channels to get traffic to your website, you're just losing it. And it's not just like that. The abandonment is quite high. If the users, if they experience any dissatisfaction during their visit, they are unlikely to buy from that site again. And it's not just statistics, it applies to you and me. I have had instances where I don't want to visit a website just because of the experience I get or the kind of the overall cycle, this complete buying cycle happens there. So you have got to be very clear in terms of that your abandonment is very less, like if the performance is not optimal, if your people are not able to get to the payment page and make payment there. So you need to be aware of where those abandonments are happen. So what tools do you make use of to ensure that you are aware of what your abandonment is and at what critical point in the application this is happening. To make it matters more difficult, we have the mobile complexity. Almost everyone carries 2 devices in his hand, one a desktop, a mobile device, and a tablet. So everyone is growing in terms of the devices that they carry on. And it's not just the browsers. You've got mobile browsers, you've got devices, then the operating systems are different, a new version, a new flavor comes on, and there's a geographic divergence, like people coming from different geographies. So how do you get to the bottom of it, what your complexity is? Some of the statistics may really make you understand the complexity that to add. And similarly, the 70% of mobile users expect their performance to be equivalent to that desktop. So that's quite phenomenal that the users who are using mobile devices, they want the same user experience what they are getting on their desktop applications. But look at the market today. The people are buying smartphones which are like they are very like the range from where the smartphones are available today have dropped in price. But what are the computing capabilities of that smartphone, and does your web application that you are building or mobile application that you are building for your business, can that work on that device on that? So what kind of tools and technologies for measuring those performance from different devices is available to you? That is something which you need to understand and how you could improvise on that. And it's not just like that, the complexity of devices. You got Twitter to your aid, you got other social media to your aid, where anything on a platform, if they have problems, they start writing about it, and the result is the mobile apps live and die by their rating in the App Store. If I don't find anything which has got a 4 rating, I will never install it on my device. And that's where your apps, even after investing into those tools, if you do not get a real-time benefit, real-time visibility into what users are using your mobile apps, where they are facing problem, where it crashed on the device, unless you have that information, you will get ratings, you get rated badly, and your apps are just staying in that mobile app store without adding value to your business. So you got to be cautious about those aspects as well. So why doesn't the old work of analyzing and looking at the performance issues of those web applications, mobile applications work? First and foremost is that there's too much of data. The data that is in hand with you is not really good enough. You just have to deal with data, but not real information. So you need a tool which cuts through this data, gives you value, what you really are interested in. They may be too complicated. One tool for your production, one for operation, one for mobile, one for your development, and they don't work with each other. They are too siloed, poor collaboration between them. They don't work across the complete life cycle, and the visibility would again be very limited. Like something works for Android, doesn't work for mobile, iOS, and then it does not cater to web platform, does not work on some other browser, or does not help you give you end-to-end visibility of your application, how your users from mobile are experiencing your web application, or how your users on your desktop are seeing your application. So this is one of the major problems that most of the performance tools will be able to help you with getting to the end-to-end visibility of your application. And that's where you require a new generation of APM that addresses those challenges, that addresses this complexity of the new Web 2.0 and the proliferation of too many devices in the market and the expected user experience, what users are demanding. So what does a new computer and what does a new generation APM leader look like? If you look through what Gartner has rated, for 3 consecutive years, CompuWare has been rated as one of the only company which is right there at the right top corner of APM Magic Quadrant for the completeness of vision. It has got the vision, what APM market should be like. Being number 1 provider for 6 consecutive years for top 500 online retailers, that means a lot. A global company of the year for cloud-based monitoring, application monitoring. 7 out of 10 top US online retailers, 4 of 5 top online European retailers are CompuWare APM customers. Almost the entire 500 top Fortune customers are using CompuWare APM. So it speaks volumes about what CompuWare stands in the new generation APM, why everyone is still using and making and advancing towards APM and left behind the silo-based performance monitoring tools which are there out in the market. The new generation APM leader, it brings to the most challenging applications. It can be on web, mobile, cloud, enterprise, big data. We got all that available for monitoring, for being utilized in the performance monitoring area. So we have all of these covered. The best of the best APM standards which have been defined, be it end user perspective, where you get to know which users are coming from which device, which geographies. So you get the end user perspective for your entire transactions. 100% visibility of all the users who are using your web application. So you don't miss out, don't work with averages or sampling data. It's like a end-to-end, each and every user who is accessing your website, you got them covered with the deepest possible diagnostic information to get to the bottom of the problem and eliminate it. The analytics are very relevant to the business. So you're not monitoring your data, your application servers. It's basically you're monitoring your business and see how your business KPIs are related to the SLAs that you're monitoring. So you can build your systems very realistically. Second, the biggest aspect which I see as a true value is the life cycle by design approach, where the CompuWare APM provides you a unified platform which allows you to collaborate between your production, test, and development teams. So you are cutting through the firewalls which are built, the walls that are exist between these different legs of the development cycle, and are able to provide a collaborative solution. And the last one is the fast time to value, where we got the cloud-based platforms, we got some of the best analytics and advanced automation, where you can get the value from this tool. In hours of deployment, you start getting benefits from your application. So we have a solution which works end-to-end, provides you visibility into your edge computing technologies, your cloud, your data center, across the public-private clouds, wherever your applications are deployed, be it in Java, .NET, PHP, or the enterprise applications. So all across this chain, it provides you visibility of your applications. And there are thousands of customers who watch for our solutions, be it in financial services, insurance, government, e-commerce. So this is like really who's in who of the entire industry. And it's not just, there are testimonies to it. The Swarovski, it has benefited by optimizing its back office performance improvement, faster time to market, handled higher spikes in traffic, or lowered your abandonment rate in your shopping carts. So these are real testimonies of how these companies have been able to benefit from the value that our APM solutions bring. Let's look at the web challenges that are there and how CompuWare advantage you get with these. So these are some of the analyzing performance of user behavior, speed user complete resolution, resolve client and functional problems, manage third-party services, and bring all web, mobile, and native apps into one platform. So this is some of the key advantages that you get with the CompuWare APM, which really help you improvise, looking into where your users are abandoning your websites or why certain transactions are not converting, where they are failing, and try to bridge these gaps together using the comprehensive collaborative. So looking at the complete users, is performance impacting my conversion rate? So what is my conversion rate? Where are my users coming from? What is the bounce rate happening for these transactions that are happening in my pages? And across the globe, where my users are coming from, I can simply look at the users, drill down to that area where the performance problems are, where those users are coming from. So this kind of analytics quickly help you look at the visits that are happening by the hour, where they are coming from. Very quickly, you are able to see at the visits and page actions and look at the value associated with it and start building on top of it if the performance goes down or you're looking at the experience in a different way. So this is something which is very critical for someone who's trying to look at the landing page dashboards. So where are your customers coming from, which page they hit, and where is the user who are after the landing, where are they actually leaving your website? So if they are leaving at a particular page, you know that this page is having certain issues. From there, you look at the user behavior, like these many users who have got into this application, bounce happens at this particular page. So we look at that page and look at also the failed. If anything has failed, we can just try to make them look at these aspects of these pages that have been performed, why they are failing, drill down to the code level, method level, or the SQL which is faltering, and fix those issues so that you can reduce the bounce from your pages. Now, this is where it differentiates from many web analytics that can provide you these things, that it allows you to go into the code level details of your application, see why that visit, like a visit could be 30 minutes visit where the user tried to perform a complete transaction accessing different areas of your web application. That complete visit, where it is failing, from which user it came. So that is a true differentiator, a value add which you get with these kind of analytics from computer. So you are able to optimize your pages. Don't let your waste, like your SEM and SEO spends. So you got the people onto this page with difficulty, so you ensure that they convert. So again, like on the exit, where the users where they are leaving, is it because there's a failure, there's an error on that page, or the load time is too much? So these kind of analytics very easily help you to address those issues and then see where the people are actually leaving and try to fix those issues, because from here you can go down to the code level and see where the application is slowing down, why that is happening. So you don't lose your customers at a critical point of time. Similarly, you could see where the traffic is coming from, what clients. So are you investing more on browsers and not looking at mobile apps, whereas the traffic most of the time comes to you from mobile devices? And again, what is the kind of bandwidth? Are they coming from low bandwidth areas? So you need to make sure that you optimize your resources and the contents to look for a low bandwidth. So this kind of visual data visualizes data in a way where you are able to optimize your web application based on the location, the traffic. The advertisement that you put on your web application would be more useful where you have the most users coming from. The campaigns can be driven around that area. So you are very, very easily able to make best use of this data in terms of what clients, what user. And again, you have to understand that this is a 24/7 monitoring of all the user traffic that comes into application. So this is realistic data, as real as you can get. You're not missing each and any user. So it's no sampling, no averaging. You're getting each and every user on your website and tell them where they are coming from, and look at like what the key demographics are involved for your customers. Similarly, you can look at what the application browser types they are coming from. Is it like more mainly iPhone, which is high, so you need to ensure that you're building more and more users around it. And then, if you have an iPhone user, you can see here at the bottom there is a crash which has happened. So, how do you identify that where this crash has happened, or which platform it has happened, after which user action this has failed? So this information is very relevant for you to address those problems and to understand which user is coming from it and what was the user trying to do at that point of time. Similarly, you can speed up your user resolution. Say supposedly you have users who are coming into log into the website. You're able to pull out information for each and every user, see the click path. So what they try to do in the user, they try to log into a web application, they try to fill in a login form, try to look for certain key presses, certain alphabets, trying to find a trip, and then when they try to load the page for making booking, this is where it becomes red and this is failing. And similarly, you can look for native mobile applications, what was happening in the native mobile app while the user tried to do before it crashed. So this is actual analyzing the user interaction on your web application across web, mobile, and native apps and identify problem issues that really affect your business outcome. So this is very critical that in one view, you're able to see users coming from mobile, from your web, from all different places, and see where they're failing, why they're failing. So you are able to identify issues again, like what is the failure, what is it, like the JavaScript, the response code, so, and compare this with your, so this is like for your this week, this is for the same day last week, and you can see that what is the difference. So what is, have you introduced this week some changes which are impacting this compared to your performance last week. So these kind of analytics are really helpful to see the functional health of your web application week on week, month on month, and see comparatively what is the failure rate, why is it increasing, and start drill down. I mean, anything in the APM solution, you can drill down and see where the problem is, look at the errors which are happening. So that is very essential for you to look at the problems in your application. And similarly, if there are some, once you have identified that problem, you can just go down and look at the code level in the page, like in the page, what has happened. So there are some JavaScript errors which make the web pages or the images not load or certain links not to work. So you are able to identify and see any issues which any user is facing and quickly address them. So similarly, you are able to look at the client errors. So if there are some crashes and some failures that have happened, you can very easily look at that and see the and fix those events or errors that have happened in the application. One more aspect is about the third-party services. Is there a third-party content? I think everybody today on the web application makes use of third-party content. Like on an average, a web page makes about 12 to 15 connections, and I have seen in my experience that some of these page connections will go into 50, 60 connections, and mostly they would go to all social media websites because that's the integral part of any web page today. So how is that third-party content impacting you? Are you using any third-party content which is slowing down your page? And if you are employing a CDN, so is it really effective and is becoming a bottleneck? So you can see over here that you are able to see that how many of these counts are happening which are impacting your page actions, like anything from CDN to actor, Twitter, avatar. So all these are affecting your page load time. So this is a twist try to optimize the way they are loaded onto your page and have a better user experience. And in most time, is the added response time worth the business benefit? I think that's the value judgment you got to make, understanding. But that understanding can come only when you are having such kind of tools available to you and you are able to see the data. Again, this is a view where you are able to see your web, mobile, and real user perspective together. So in one screen, you have your performance across the pages, visits by users, so where they are coming from, what kind of metrics you can see them, what is the bounce rate, is there a real-time overview of where your users are coming from. Okay, at this point, I will just break into a demonstration of how our APM solution can help you address these challenges, and we'll just run a small sample web application and see the user experience, how the user is facing, and see how these that we discussed so far, how these can be handled in real time. So just bear with me for a minute. I'm just using a demo application called Easy Travels, which is deployed on my local system and being monitored by our Compuware APM application performance management software interface. So all I'm going to do is just trying to book a travel trip. I'm just going to look at a travel trip to New York. I search for the trip and I found a business trip worth $299. I just go ahead and book. Now it's just trying to ask me to log in. So I'm just going to log in as a user which is already existing in the system called Monica. Okay, the moment I click my login, now it is taking much more time than I'm used to experience on my login page. So this is really not something I'm used to. Anyway, I just go ahead with my booking, fill my credit card details, look at my details, click the next button, and I'm nearly done with my trip, and I just hit the finish button to look at my details. So my travel has been booked, my booking ID has been generated and given to me. So I simply log out of the system and just go ahead of it. At this point, I'll switch on to my Dynatrace client, where I am monitoring the users who have got into the system. And this is basically a SLA monitoring dashboard, where I'm actually looking at what the user logins are, whether the search and the bookings, anything that is being monitored by the system is being captured. Now I can see that the user login is already breaching the threshold. It is not matching the response time. It shows me as a red. The searches are going fine. The searches are within the threshold, and there's no booking happening. So there's something wrong with the system right now. That the bookings are fairly really slow, or these SLAs are being breached. So let me pick up the user which I logged in, and I can see my user here, Monica. So there have been 2 counts of her users where she has tried to do this to perform a login. So very easily I'm able to see what users are logged in, who have performed login, what search they try to do, whether they are able to do bookings, where they are failing in this session. So what I'm interested right now is to basically look for the complete visit of this user, Monica. I logged in as a user, Monica, click visit, search for her by her username, and I can see that there are so many users by the name Monica who have tried to log in, but I just switch it to past 5 minutes and look at what are the user actions which have happened in this user. So I just pick up this user particularly at this point of time. So and the moment I select this user, what I can see is that I can see the complete details of what the user has tried to do. So she has tried to use this particular visit and try to log in to the complete page. What she tried to do some search, look at the booking, and again this is the complete user action here. Like this is the one I'm looking after. This is like coming from my local system. Yes. Okay. So I can see that I after logging in looked for a trip for New York. I can see NEW. YORK. So all my key presses have been captured. So whatever I see that I try to log in, book my trip, and then finish here. But look at here, like along this login, I can see that it has taken nearly 10 seconds for me to log in, and which is really not something I'm used to. So let me just look at this particular login and look at the what has happened during this login. So I have tried to log in, and this particular orange booking review.jsf is which is the web request which is taking the most of the time. I can simply drill down and look at the pure path for this, and I can very quickly see that it gets me to the complete stack of code, which is basically that the user Monica along the authentication, it took her nearly 10 seconds to use the login method. So this is something which I have to pass on to my user, like the developer, and tell him that why is it taking so time, and he can just quickly look at this and look at where the problems are. Now, this is something which very easily is helpful for someone to look at the problems, where these problems are coming from, and what he tried to do during this particular time frame, and address those challenges quickly. Now, where this is also helpful now is that I can look at the transaction for this user. So the user came in through the web, went to the customer front end, then to the business backend, to the database. So in one flow, for this particular user, I have a complete detail that how much time it spent on each tier, like the front end, it took 99%, and the database least. I can then look at have my mouse here and look at the complete host details, whether there are any infrastructure issues related to this user at that point of time, or look at the API distribution, where the most of the time has been spent by this application in performing this issue. For a developer, which is like really helpful, is that even if he does not understand much of the code, he can simply drill down and look for a sequence diagram, which generates an on-the-fly sequence diagram for the user to see the complete flow of the application, how the entire transaction that he has performed, or the action of that page, what tier it went, which class it went, what servlet it was called, what method on that particular was called, like authenticate here. He can look at it and go down to details and look exactly what method was being called, what arguments were passed. So this is not only a sequence diagram which is developed on the fly, but also with intelligent information to see what values were associated with that particular transaction in real time, and quickly identify problems in the application and fix it. So this is the real value what you can achieve from Dynatrace. I'll just run you through quickly through some of the other screens that we discussed during the earlier slides. Right now here you are again looking at the page performance, like what are the slowest user actions. Like I can see that the legal or NGSF is the most slowest action that is happening. Again, which are the most frequent user actions here? It is search. So you can very easily look at what is the most used and slowest actions on your web application and try to address them quickly. Similarly, you have the complete application. I'll just switch it to 1 hour. So you have the complete user experience. If there are conversion rates which are happening, or there are any bounce rates which are happening, you can look at those data points, drill down to what pages they are happening, and look at the complete user interaction, which pages they are exiting the system. Third-party content effects, which are the most third-party actions which are causing slowdown, like whether it's the load time, the third-party content time, which is capturing most of the time. So right now, I don't think there is anything which suggests like there is a impact by Facebook busy time, which is causing this some slowdown, but not for that. But definitely, this is a very value add for where you are using third-party content to see in real time that what are these actions which are happening. And then you can even from here drill down to those pure paths to see if there are any pure paths associated with it, to see come down and look at where the problem has happened. So all these are very critical for you to in real time see all your visits which are happening in your system, visits over time, how many visits have happened, and look at what visits have happened during this time, and then basically even go down to those visits which are happened during those 10 minutes and look at each one of them, what the user tried to do at that point during that. You can group them differently, see that what kind of places they came from, like this is China or this is Asia. You can look at which countries they came from, look at by the operating systems they came from, and what were they trying to do with those. You can group them by the browser location or the browser types to see whether they are looking for which application. So the value add that is your conversion rate. Okay. Similarly, I have a quick run here where I'm trying to again run the Easy Travel application on my mobile application on my tablet here. So I basically log in as a user here. So I'm just going to use the user again, Monica here. So the user logs in, okay, and after the login, I'm just trying to just crash this. This is a deliberate thing which I'm trying to do here. So I'm just trying to crash the application after the user has logged in and see how Dynatrace can help me quickly see this user action and how I can quickly look at this data. So I'm going to look at the 5-minute time frame. So I can see that there is a action which has come from Easy Travel. So I have this web application. It's a tab, an Android tab emulator here. So I can quickly see that I got a request for Easy Travel Mobile from a Android emulator, and I can see the user, what he tried to do is after looking for the search, he did a login, and after login, there is a crash. So very quickly you are able to see the user action of that, what he tried to do during that particular time frame. And again, you can then go on to look at the complete user actions, what was the complete transaction flow for that user during these activities, and what were the different tiers involved. So this is a very rich set of integrated tools which allows you to build performance into your applications, right from mobile to native applications, all under one platform. All right. I'll resume again from where we left here. The last bit of this session, I want to just emphasize on some other aspects of your improving your conversion and your avoiding the abandonment which we saw for some of the applications which have happened. Is that don't use your customers as load testing dummies. See, you run a campaign for your application where you involve a lot of people in building the scaling the application, in doing a lot of campaigns involving print, media, and endorsement to bring people to your web applications, and then the web applications do not scale because the testing may not have been done to see whether the load can be scaled. So how about having a load test where you just try to scale, look at the load that you want to generate, look at the people, the locations that you want to run from your test. So actually simulate a web load test saying that I want to originate my load from London, Virginia, Tokyo, and I want to have a peak target of 25 users performing these many transactions over at this period of time, and then see that load test happen from where users actually are simulated from different web locations to see to put load on your application and run manual tests, these tests, and see how your complete web load testing helps you in making your hours and what you would have done in weeks is reduced to a couple of iterations, and you are able to provide a real value and see how traffic, how geographies, how devices, how regions impact your complete web application under a sustained load for a certain duration, and eliminate. So it is not only helping you to eliminate problems, but also helping you to reduce your time scale. So what you might have got from a previous load testing tool would be just certain reports which tell you about slowness, but Dynatrace follows all the synthetic transactions through the application, telling you where it is slow. So the platform, a SaaS platform to generate load, and on-premise application monitoring to tell you why this is slow and where it is slow is really, really powerful. So you get to know where your application, which tiers is not scaling, which API is not scaling, which API is the most contributing factor, and which methods and SQLs are not optimal, which you need to address. So that is the key thing, which is a takeaway from here for you, and it's up to the end user now. What is whether they want to maintain the status quo of living in a situation which is all like this, or graduate to a system where our users are benefiting, our customers are benefiting, where they are monitoring their health of their business and not the health of their systems, and a complete mess like this. So it's a choice which users have to take, look at the APM in a new way and move away from something which does not work. With that, I will just hand it back to Jerry.
Thank you, Deepak. Right, so back to the Q&A. Just let me see if there's any question so far. I think, Deepak, one of the questions is that if the customer is interested in this, how do they actually get onto the trial program, or how do they be contacted to proceed to find out more?
Okay. I think we have a you can write down to the India team over here, and after this presentation we can just contact you. So you can just drop an email to me or Kiran, who is our representative here, and we can just get in touch with you, understand your requirements, and then take it forward from there.
Okay, right. So in the meantime, if any of the audience have any questions, feel free to drop a note to the Q&A panel, and we will address that shortly. I guess another question is, in terms of this solution, is it more a cloud-based solution, or is it more of an agent solution?
All right. What we have as an offering is that we have a comprehensive, collaborative solution which works as an integrated, as a one platform. So you can take benefit from it as a cloud, have your application being monitored using our cloud offering, and then graduate into a more agent-based solution, which is like a deep dive diagnostic into your Java and .NET application. So there are flavors to it. So we need to understand the complete requirements, but as a solution, you have a complete cloud-based offering as well as on-premise.
Right. Who are some of the customers in India that have already adopted the APM solution?
Right. See, what has happened in India is that we have customers in financial services, in banking, in manufacturing, who have actually adopted this solutions, and there are a lot of e-commerce companies who are actually making use of our cloud-based offerings in synthetic monitoring and real user monitoring. So that is some of the major customers whom we are working with in India.
Right.
Apart from their IT services companies, which are also again engaged with us.
Right. Any other questions from the audience? You can actually just put it down.
Yeah, I see some of the questions which are there. Okay. So here is a question from Krishna. You're right. I want to ask one question, that we can keep track of each method which was called during a transaction. Can we track parameters passed to these methods? Right. So the way the APM solution for the application works is that the moment you are monitoring your application with our agents, so along this transaction, any method that is invoked, you can have all the parameters, SQL, any method arguments, return values, captured. So that is all possible. Apart from that, if you recall, I mean, I just presented this one sequence diagram where I was basically looking at that user which has performed that. I can look at the. I can just quickly see if I have anything. Okay. Basically the user which was trying to run this action. So you can see that there are some arguments here. So these arguments are basically captured. So all these arguments along this channel are captured, and you can look at them in elaboration. So definitely you can get all those things. The next question is it agent integrated or agentless monitoring? Now what you are looking at here is basically an agent based, where we are injecting agents into the application, instrumenting the JVM and the .NET application. So that actually talks about like that you have the complete agent deployed in your application, which instruments the application and captures all the details along the entire transaction. Now, the critical thing to understand here is that this is a heterogeneous application which has like a web tier, Java, credit card, backend in .NET. So your transactions, as they pass through each tier, like from Java to C++ also here, it captures all the details along the complete transaction. So for doing that, we need to have an agent-based technology, but there are certain agentless technologies also which can be integrated with this to capture any other enterprise applications like SAP or Oracle e-business. The next one is, can we get trial version of APM? Yeah, I think you should contact us. There are some the previous adoptions also programs where you can get a flavor of this APM using our cloud-based solutions. So there is already a free edition which you can start using for the Dynatrace Ajax edition, which helps you to optimize your browser. There is a mobile premium which helps you to monitor your mobile native applications in real time. So definitely you can get in touch with us and see what you can get as part of that free offering. The next one is again from Dave. As a Gomez backbone test and last mile is totally our internet connectivity, but is this Dynatrace needs to install in the organization domain? What kind of permissions and configuration needs to be done? Okay, so you are already using the Gomez scenes. So Gomez, as you understand, is a cloud. It's the outside-in view. So you are looking of your application from outside your firewalls, outside the premise, your premise where you are hosting the application. Now, that is where Gomez gives you visibility from the edge of the internet to your data center. Now, Dynatrace starts from that location where it gives you visibility inside the application where it is hosted as agents into your application. The permissions and configuration that are required, in terms of permission, it does not require any super user permission. It just needs to instrument that application and have certain resources available to it on the file system. And configuration, typically in couple of hours you have all the configuration done. So even if your application scales, if it you add servers, you remove servers, or do any changes, bring in cloud leg into your transaction, it will just simply start capturing it without you having to do anything about it. So very flexible, very quick turnaround time for this. And best of the thing, no scripting, no code changes you're required to do. The next one again is from Ramesh. Are the security measures taken care of? Like for password, does it show the encrypted form for customer protection? See, what I have shown is a demo, but definitely what you can do is here you can eliminate certain username passwords that you do not want to be captured or do not want to be shown. You can always do that, all those things from the system that you don't want these things to be. Like these are some of the confidential strings that we can tell that, okay, these are like parameters, query strings or URI, and I can say that just deactivate it so that it does not capture those. Okay. Also, can we track query involved with query details and time taken by them? Yeah, definitely. You can take a look at using Dynatrace that what was the query involved, what time it was taken. So what we have is basically I can go to any of my pure paths and look at this particular pure path. So I can see that there have been, let's see over here. So this is a query which has been called here. So I can look at what was the prepared statement, what was the query being used, so what was the execution time, what was the complete database connection pool used by it, what was the JDBC URL used for it. So all these are already captured. You can even enhance this to capture more details. How much does it cost to have a tool like this? Is it subscription-based, volume-based? This is Anirudh. See this again. The pricing starts based on the number of JVMs or .NET instances you want to instrument, and it is not subscription or volume-based. It is based on the number of JVMs that you want to. But if you are not interested in the JVM and .NET, and you just are interested in some like aspects of user experience, how the user experience of the users are, so you can go for a cloud-based solution which we offer, and that is again driven by the volume and the subscription that you are catering to. The next one is again from Ramesh. Is it integrated over on the TCP protocol, or does it have its own proprietary protocol? So the way Dynatrace works is that it uses certain ports to connect internally, but for any client or any server that it uses, it makes use of normal TCP protocol, or you can even make it pass through firewall using HTTP tunneling.
Deepak, I think we probably want to just address one more questions in view of the timing.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions which are coming.
Right. So I think one of the last questions is in terms of the overweight and the memory intensive. How does it cause any overhead into the infrastructure, and how memory intensive is the application?
Yeah. Okay, I think that's a very good question. See, the one thing you need to understand for any agent-based technology is definitely it has overhead because you're instrumenting the application. Now, where it differentiates from many other profilers or after the event profiling which the APM solutions offer is that they go to 30, 40, 50, 60% of overhead. But with Dynatrace, we are restricting that overhead to 3 to 5%, and that has been proven for not one, two, but thousands of customers who are using it day in and day out and handling 8 millions of transactions per hour. So their production systems are running fine, and it's not really memory intensive. And you have to remember again that we monitor 24/7 all the user transactions. So it's capturing each and every transaction with a lower memory, with a lower overhead. So it's all because of the architecture, the way it has been architected, that we are able to keep our overheads very, very low.
Right. So I think at this point, we would like to end the webinar. However, I will actually share one of the contacts of our this consultant over the WebEx, so that if you have any questions or would like to schedule for a demo session, feel free to reach out to us. His name is Kiran, by the way. So I'll just share that over the chat line to all the participants. and we will also archive the slide and share with the participants so that you can look through it at your own timing as well. All right. Anything, Deepak?
No, I think that's it.
Yep.
And thank you all for attending this session.
All right. Thank you.